Let's start off with the prayer for today's message. Father, thank you, Heavenly Father, for another day of life and another day you have given us, Father, the opportunity to provide for us to share our word and be here. Most importantly, present with you, Father, in your presence gathered here. More important than anything going on around us, any movie, game, show, or anything that's going on around us, Father. This is why we are here. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for letting us be here. Ask you, anybody that is watching, anybody that is joining, Father, that listens to before, that listens after, or during, they open up their hearts, open up their minds, Father, that they can understand what they read in your name, Father, in Jesus Christ's name. We welcome you. We're going to read on First Corinthians today. First Corinthians chapter 8, 1 to 13. I wanted to start earlier, but a few things happened that are out of my control, like working all day, and then after doing things. Kind of takes a toll when you get older. First Corinthians 8, 1 through 13. Food offered to idols. Now, concerning food offered to idols, we know that all of us possess knowledge. This knowledge puffs up, but love builds up. If anyone imagines that he knows something, he does not yet know as he ought to know. But if anyone loves God, he is known by God. Therefore, as to the eating of food offered to idols, we know that an idol has no real existence and that there is no God but one. For although there may be so called gods in heaven or on earth, as indeed there are many gods and many lords, yet for us there is one God, the Father, from whom there are all things and for whom we exist, and one Lord, Jesus Christ. There's only one, nothing else, nobody else, nothing else around us, through whom are all things and through whom we exist. However, verse 7, not all possess this knowledge, for some that do ignore it, some that do say, no, thank you, not today. But some, through former association with idols, previous experience with idols, eat food as really offered to an idol, and their conscience, being weak, is defiled. Verse 8, food will not commend us to God. We are no worse off if we do not eat, and no better off if we do. Verse 9, but take care that this right of yours does not somehow become a stumbling block to the weak. For if anyone sees you who who have knowledge eating it in an idol's temple, will he not be encouraged? If this conscience is weak to eat food offered to idols, question mark, verse 11, and so by your knowledge this weak person is destroyed. The brother for whom Christ died, thus sinning against your brothers and wounding their conscience when it is weak. You sin against Christ. Therefore, if food makes my brothers stumble, I will never eat meat, lest I make my brother stumble. I like the ending here. That thus sinning against your brothers and wounding their conscience when it was weak, you sin against Christ. So it's telling you to uh, be against sinning against your brother instead of wounding their conscience when they are weak. Rise them up, help them up. So by your knowledge, this weak person is destroyed, the brother of whom Christ died, telling you to lift up your Christian brethren, to lift up your Christian brothers or sisters when they need help instead of constantly judging them, constantly worrying about what they're doing, what they're not doing, which is going to lead me to the testimony that I have from a recent men's meeting that I attended to, as this verse that we talked about, these verses that we talk about, lift up your brother, lift up your brother and sister, thus sinning against your brothers and wounding their conscience when it is weak, you sin against Christ. Basically, basically while stepping on them when they are down in their conscience, spiritual life, or anything else like, you are sinning against Christ. I learned something very important when I went to this men's meeting. Everybody's so focused about all these churches, and I don't like to talk about other churches, but sometimes they are lacking in things. Every church is lacking somewhere, obviously, but the difference, that's where lies the difference between a church that has a pastor that takes salary and they get a paycheck to have an office there at their church. They take a paycheck compared to one that is called upon, or one that just does it, they were called upon to do it. And I never wanted to. I've been offered before, and it was possible for me to take a paycheck to make it my job. I could get paid for it with the papers that I've had that I acquired from studying. I could take a paycheck from doing it, from getting out there. It's nice to have those placed pastors there where they collect a salary and they have a nice big church. They do what they have to say, leave, and get paid. Very nice, very comfortable. But sometimes with those issues or those setups, sometimes the people suffer a little bit here and there from less interaction. So when I went to this men's breakfast meeting, it was nice seeing them work together. It was nice seeing them interact together. But you can tell when something is meant to happen that you're supposed to be there for a reason. I already knew I wasn't there because of the person that invited me. I wasn't there for that specific person. That's why it's good to be very open to when God gives you an opportunity to be somewhere, to do something, and then you see how his plans work out, how his plans materialize. And the entire time I was like, am I supposed to be here? What am I supposed to be doing here? But don't get me wrong, I enjoyed helping a lot. I enjoyed helping prepare the food. I enjoyed helping setting up the tables, chairs, cleaning it up after. It felt good doing something for a good purpose instead of just, when you have a day off, you're just at home relaxing. I'd rather be doing something like that for Christ, not for the person that invited me, not for the whoever owns certain churches or whoever's in charge of a church. I never did anything like that for any particular person. But what helped me and see and realize that when I was there, things happened the way they happened. That after we ate breakfast, we got set up in different tables. There was like 5, 6 different chairs in each table, and the message was, the question was, what has been your experience talking to people with Jesus? ¿Cuál es tu experiencia hablando con la gente de Jesús? What have you gone through to talk with Jesus? Qué es lo que puedes mejorar en hablar con alguien en Jesús? One of the other questions was, what can you do? What do you feel you can do better to talk to people about Jesus? They had a few questions like that. They had a little paper in front of you, and you had to sit down and look at it. And then the pastor talked for like 10, 15 minutes. And then after, the men have to interact with each other. So I was sitting there interacting. It was just going to be me and like 2 other people. But then they started separating the tables. So each table can be full. That's also how I know. I think I was meant to go to the table I was in so I can realize and see what happens. So the table was full. There was one, two, three, four, five, like 6 of us in each table. So they go around asking, van alrededor preguntando, when was the last time you talked to somebody about Jesus? ¿Cuándo fue la última vez que hablaste a alguien de Jesús? ¿O cuál es algo que puedes mejorar? Or what can you do? What can you improve? Or what was your experience like when you talked to people about Jesus? Or cuál es tu experiencia cuando hablaste a alguien con Jesús. And there was the guy that helped from the church, and then there was an older guy next to me, and there was three other men in front of me, and then one on the left. I called him Wise Man because he was really old. His name is Bob, but I called him Wise Man Bob. He was like old and he had a beard and everything. And then in front of me, the guy was named John, and then the other guy I don't remember. And then the other guy I also want to talk about. There's people like this in the church. Que sí me acuerdo es que este señor que estaba a mi derecha. Hay mucha gente como él en la iglesia. There's a lot of people like him in the churches as well. And it was good to see. Estaba bueno ver that it wasn't just me, because I could tell not everybody knew everybody. Podía ver que no todos conocían a todos. Not everybody knew everybody. And I was just like looking around. I only knew one person there. No más conocía una persona, but even that person I don't really know. So I was like looking around. But it was good to see that the older guy next to me, I think he was in the Navy or something. I could tell he was following me around. He sat down next to me because we talked what we ate. Él me estaba siguiendo. Yo podía ver que me estaba siguiendo porque hablamos en la mesa, and he was following me too because he was like, I don't know anybody else here, and then he just sat next to me. And then when we got separated, and they put us in the tables, he followed me like él me estaba siguiendo. Era un señor de edad. He was following me too. He was like, "Are you gonna stay? Are you gonna go?" I'm like, "Man, let's just go over here." So I was already unintentionally leading him. Hasta yo ya estaba inintencionalmente, ¿cómo se dice? How does it say? Leading somebody. Ya estaba dirigiéndolo yo. I was already directing him where I was gonna go. And then he was like, I don't know, are we gonna stay here? We're gonna go here. He said, no, get over here. Let's go over here. And then he followed me. He's like an older guy. It was pretty funny looking about how it went down. But when we sat down, everybody said what they had to say. I like doing that. I mean, me gusta hacer eso. Cada uno dijo lo que sus experiencias, everybody went through. Oh, they like to talk to so and so people about Jesus and what my experience was. I let them all go because I want to see what's up. Yo los dejé hablar primero porque a mí me gusta ver qué es lo que, how wise are they? I could tell the wise man was fine. Yo ya sabía que el viejito de la barba él estaba bien. I could tell he was fine because he's like old school. Es como de la vieja escuela, el viejito. His name was Bob. Bob the wise man. I hope I see him again. And the guy on the right, I don't want to say his name. I don't even remember his name, but he was the most, um, what is that word? He was combative. He was very contentious. He had the spirit of contention in him. Estaba en mi derecha, tenía ese espíritu de contención. I mean, he was there. He was singing along. He was reading, but we know that when even if people are in the church and they sing along, they have their issues. He's the first one I noticed. He's the first one that talked. Es el primero que noté, es el primero que habló. El que tenía el espíritu de contención. His point was, su punto era, because, well, we can't force ourselves to talk to somebody. You know, we can't force Christ to people when we talk to them, and we have to be careful and this and that. And but I could tell like he was just rushing through everything. He just wanted to go. Yo ya pude ver que él estaba hablando, pero es uno de los que, oh, ya cumplí, ya me quiero ir, let's talk. He was one of those. I'm here, I did my part, let's just roll it along. Because then whenever he kept talking, he was like sitting down, and he would look at his phone. Like he would not stay still. He just has, that guy has just something in him. But I had his point down, and then I had Wise Man Bob's, the wise man with the beard. He was like, no, we should. He's like, he reminded me of the old man, but he was white because he was like, no, lo debemos de decir así, directo y honesto, así decía Bob, the wise man. Like, no, we should be direct. We should just tell him how it is, because because he's like, and he's right. He was like, yo, como ya cuando tienes mi edad, I don't know if I'm gonna have another chance. So I tell people how it is about Jesus. I tell them how it is. And then the guy in front of me, I think his name was John, he tries to tell people about Christ at work, but he says he doesn't know. He's afraid that he might not know a verse by memory. Tiene está asustado que no puede contestar algo bien, que a lo mejor no puede contestar algo bien. Maybe he can't answer the question right. Maybe he doesn't have the right verse. Que a lo mejor no puede sacar el versículo correcto. You know, and then the last time he tried to tell somebody, his coworker, like he was like, "No, I don't believe in that," and he like got into the corner. So after I heard everybody's point, the guy next to me he didn't say that much, and then the other guy didn't say that much. But the ones that did talk, I got their points down, and then after they all talked, those todos hablaron, and I was like, "Well, there are three good points here on the table. Hay tres puntos buenos que hay que tocar en esta mesa." I was like, "There are three good points in this table that have to be touched. You can't force it." I was pointing at all of them, and I told them, "That's just this is how I am." Even though Mr. Contentious was over here, Mr. Contention was on my right, aunque Mr. Contención estaba en mi derecha. I was like, "You're right. Don't force them. You can't, pester them with Jesus and this and that and this and that. You can't do that. Even though we get pestered with lesbian, gays, this, black, gay diversity. Even though we get pestered when we talk about Jesus, oh, it's such a subject. It's when it gets touchy." But I didn't say that. I just told him, "You're right. Don't force it." And then I told him, Wise Man Bob had a point too. If you have an opportunity, si tienes una oportunidad, take it. Talk to somebody about Jesus in any way, shape, or form that you can. And then the guy in front of me was John. Le dije, yo me puedo relacionar contigo. I was like, I can relate with you. I told him because I used to be that way too. When I was younger, tenía miedo que, bueno, si hablo con alguien de Cristo, ¿qué tal si no me acuerdo del versículo? I was like, what if I don't remember a certain verse? What if I don't remember a verse that they asked me about and I can't answer the question? And then I would get nervous and I don't know if I should talk to them. What if they come at me with like the stupid YouTube videos? They're all combative and they get angry. That was me back then. So yo le dije, yo me puedo relacionar contigo. I can relate with you. And I just gave him advice, because that's what it was about. That was the talk. Eso era la habla, la plática de what can you do better, or what do you think you should do when you talk to people about Christ? And then I told them, this is what helped me. Le dije, esto es lo que me ayudó a mí. I stopped thinking about what if this, what if that. Le dije, yo hace mucho paré de pensar, ¿qué tal si no me recuerdo ese versículo? ¿Qué tal si me olvido de esto? ¿Qué tal si? Le dije, I stopped thinking about that a long time ago. I told him what I think about now is if the opportunity arises, I have to do my job. Instead of saying, "Oh man, I missed it," en vez de decir, "Oh, se me olvidó," or like I could tell he would feel bad if he missed it because he doesn't have the confidence. That's the issue. No tiene la confidencia. ¿Cómo se dice? No tiene el Jonas. No tenía la. He doesn't have the confidence. No tiene la confianza en él mismo to talk to somebody about Christ. And I told him what helped me overcome that is like instead of thinking about it, oh, voy a regar, en vez de pensar, oh, lo mejor no era tiempo. Like, no, there is no coincidence. If the time shows up, talk to that person. Or le dije, because he was so worried, estaba tan preocupado porque también decían, they also talked about like, at work is very touchy now. De los trabajos ya en estos días, ya se dices de Dios, ya hasta te pueden correr. They can also fire you or warn you at jobs. So I was like, do this. If he says no, si te dice tu coworker, no, don't do it. Just tell him, hey, can I pray for you? I'll just pray for you in my prayers. Y luego le dije, instead of just thinking about, oh, perdí la oportunidad. Instead of thinking, oh man, I lost the opportunity. Think about it as, at least I did my job. Tan siquiera hice mi trabajo. Whatever they want to do, como dice él que cuando dijo el coworker, ¿puedo orar por ti? Que dijo, no, aquí me quedo en mi rincón. Like, oh, I'm here in my little corner. Like he seems scared with his coworker. I'm like, it's because he has something in him. Que tiene el espíritu y dice, no, a mí no me digas nada. It's the spirit, the spirit clash. But I told him instead of thinking about it, you missed the opportunity. Just Do it anyways. There is no coincidence. There's no what if you don't get another chance. You were there for that chance. You have to do it. At least in business, instead of thinking I missed my spot, you can go off saying I did my part. Whatever they can do with it, that's up to them. And then the guy over here, like Mr. Contention, Mr. Contention over here. No, es que ya hablamos de los puntos ya. No, es que ya, no, I gotta go. He was the tripping stone, and I think he's a friend of the guy in front of me. So I think they're friends. I mean, I couldn't tell him right away. I'm like, he's your problem too. That's your friend. You're hanging out with him. You're hanging out with Mr. Negativity. That's how it is, and that the churches are filled with these men. Las iglesias que están grandes están con estos. And then what showed me that I was meant to be there was after I talked, the two that were silent, they started talking more. They were like, "Oh man, what?" Oh. Even the guy that had no, they didn't have confidence. His face changed after I talked to him. After I told him, "Se les cambió la cara." He was like, literally, I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating. He was like, "I never thought about that." Yeah, like, well, yeah. That's when I realized that's why I was here. Somebody needed something and advice, and then after that, this guy and this guy. I don't want to say their names because I don't know if they're gonna watch it. They might watch it. I don't want to do that. This guy that was here, and this guy was next to me, then the guy that was next to John. All of them started talking about what I talked about. The whole subject changed to what I talked about, and they were like, "No, yeah, oh yeah, yeah." Yes, he estaban los tres. No, yeah, what he's, oh, yeah, no, oh man. I was like, I guess they needed to hear that. It was, yo creo necesitaban oír eso because they never heard it from Mr. Fancy Microphone, so I had to be there to tell them. You know, sometimes God puts you in those places to wake them up, and that was my point with what we read. Everybody's so focused on, oh, we got to get new people. We got to get new people. New people. Wait. New people, wait. What about your current people? Your current people need help too. Because gentes que están en iglesia, they need help too. So that's also something that the churches are missing. The bigger churches are missing is they're worried about the outside, and then the inside they kind of como que se les olvida los de adentro, you know, like they start to, huh? Oh yeah, you guys are here too. They need help. They need reminding, like us, constant reminding, and then the people outside too. So what that showed me is like I wasn't expecting that. I was just doing my point. My view was I gotta help him. Tengo que ayudarle a este because he doesn't have confidence. Well, I'll tell him try this. It works with me. Y le quise decir del hermano de esta. I wanted to tell her about her brother and how it happened, and que ni lo quería aquí el güey. And then he takes the Bible with him. Like I didn't even want him here, and he took the Bible with him. And he was happy. But we ran out of time. Porque tú sabes cómo son los americanos. Oh, hasta cierto tiempo, we gotta be finished. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna tell him about that and para que les ayude. And then time ran out. Okay. Time ran out. I was gonna tell him about your brother and how it helped me, and to tell him that there's no coincidence. Porque this guy and Mr. Negativity is like, no, es que nunca, es que we have to wait for the right time. The right time. Like, yeah, but you might think it's not the right time, but God is like right now. Right now. So that's what's going on in the bigger churches. And I thought it was pretty cool because it was good to see their reaction, his reaction. Yeah, it doesn't work because in our human right time, yeah, there's time for Christ in the right time and outside of that time. Yeah, that's what I like. What Bob said, wise man. Por eso el viejito de la barba. He was like, no, you gotta tell him where you got. You gotta tell him. He said, no, you gotta wait for the right time. You can't force it. I'm like, no, Mister Negativity. Yeah, if you get the chance, take it. Do it. It's like I told that guy. At least you did your part. You get the chance. At least you got your part. And I just liked that I did something for someone, or it seemed like I did something for someone because his whole face changed. I'm not even kidding. Su cara completamente cambió. Like estaba enfrente, he was like, "What? Oh, I never thought about this." He was like, "That's a good point." Like, think about it that way. And he looked older than me too. Um, they're all, yeah, they were all older. And then the guy over there that was quiet, he looked like a gamer, but he was like, "Oh no, yeah." To what he said, let's talk about what he said. Todos cambiaron el sujeto. I can't, vamos a ver lo que dijo él. Let's talk about what he said. Like all three of them started talking about what I said because they never thought about that. Then I was more amazed, not because I said it. I'm like, oh, look at me, look what I said. No, I was more like amazed. Like I didn't know it was gonna have that effect on them. But that's what God puts you in situations for you to help. And then they all started talking about it. And then Mr. Negativity, oh, I gotta go, I gotta go. I gotta go. He's all that. But then he didn't go because he still stayed and helped with the chairs. So I don't know what his rush was. I think that guy has issues. He's got the spirit of I don't know what, but he has it. I mean, he knows of the Bible because he was talking about it, but he's one of those like I think he's being a tripping stone to his friend because they were friends. I don't know until they left together. So he's the tripping stone to that guy. Like he wants to do something, and this guy's like, no, 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 don't do it like that. And I was just like, I can't be like, hey, what are you doing? It's not my church. I was just there to help. I'm glad I was there to help. I helped somebody, and even wise man Bob liked it because he kept talking to me after. He was like, hey, Bob, how are you doing? It's like, your name is Adrian? No, it was Aaron. Oh, okay. I just call him Wise Man Bob. But thank you for watching, everybody. I just wanted to give that testimony that we need to focus on our church people. We need to focus and new people. We need to focus on both and not lose ourselves so worried about getting new people in and all these events that we have. You have to take care of your sheep too. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for another day of life, another day you have given us. Thank you for this service. Thank you for this video, Father, that we're able to provide for our followers and watchers, Father. I ask you to bless each and every one of them that watched, that heard, and everything of the like, Father. We ask you to bless their families, their homes, give them peace in their hearts. If there's any trials or tribulations that they're going through, Father, give them the strength to go through it. Give them the strength to fight back to the enemy, Father, the oppression, the depression, the regression, Father, all of it in between, Lord. Gives them strength.